Welcome to Sister Code. This is Anne and Preethi with episode 4, The Squeeze.
You know what nobody tells you about being a director?
That you're basically a translator?
Exactly. You translate executive strategy into something your team can actually execute on.
And translate your team's reality as well into something executives will actually hear.
And somehow both sides think you are on the other side.
Welcome to the middle.
Yeah, it just got harder.
So Preethi, talking about the squeeze now, take me to a specific week where you felt you were pulled in 2-3 directions at the same time.
Sure. AI adoption is what comes to mind immediately. The executive direction is clear. The job is changing. AI is the future, and every role looks different. But then you turn around and face your team, and not everyone is on board. For a variety of reasons, it might not align with their personal values, or they may have tried the tools and found they weren't what they needed it to be, or they're just not ready for the pace of change that is being asked of them. And then you are in the middle, synthesizing a strategy that isn't yours, making it land for people who didn't ask for it either. It is not just repeating what leadership says. You have to get clarity for yourself, the what, the why, and sometimes, for some people, even the how. And then you have to come up with a plan for what you will do if none of this is working.
Yeah, that last part, what are you going to do if none of it is working? And that's a part that no one trains you for. No one even gives you a script for that.
Surely, yeah, nobody. And the higher up the decision was made, the less visibility they have into why it's not working on the ground. You're absorbing frustration from both directions, and you are the only person who can see both sides of that gap.
Yeah, and you have to go back to work. You have to lead those meetings, and you have to hold it all up together.
And nobody asks how you're doing.
Yes, it is the sad reality. And along with that, though, Preethi, since we are talking about people-first leadership, what do you think people-first leadership actually costs us right now in a world where we're being asked to move at this efficiency-first speed?
Great question. Building trust costs time, and that is a non-negotiable. There's no shortcut, no AI tool that can build it for you. It requires you to actually know the person on the other side, what they need, what they are afraid of, and what would make them feel seen in the specific moment. You have to be the one listening and not the one talking. I usually remind myself to wait. Do you know what wait is?
Like, wait for me to catch up with you tomorrow?
Try again. It is, why am I talking?
That wait. Okay, that's a good
What
one.
what I keep coming back to is, what would I want from my manager right now? And then I try to give my team that. It sounds simple. It's not easy, especially when the org is asking you to move faster, manage more people, produce more output with fewer resources. But what I refuse to give up is being present in the hard conversations, sitting with someone who's struggling with the pace of AI change, or any change for that matter, not fixing it for them, not giving them a 5-step plan, not just being there, but just being honest, telling them what I know and what I don't. That is the thing I will not systemize. That is the thing that holds a team together when everything else is shifting.
Yeah, that's a great perspective, Preethi. My version of the squeeze was I had 2 teams that orchestrated multiple cloud changes, more to the tunes of around 60,000 changes every 6 months. They were the conductors, the human conductors on an automated train. Now, engineering built the features, product owned the roadmap, technical project managers managed these programs, and my team operationalized all of it. So every new product, feature release, integration, every change that had to land safely on a customer's infrastructure was done by this team. And no one above fully understood what that meant, nor the importance, because we were the gap between the vision and the execution. And the gaps are invisible until they are not filled. And this is what we call the silent heroes. And so with that, Preethi, what is the most important thing you would do every week that your skip level has no visibility into?
For me, it is the conversations, the ones that I have with my team, with stakeholders, with peers, and how I take those conversations and weave them into my leadership presence and being the glue, making sure the right people are talking to each other, making sure my team is what they need to eventually fly on their own. None of that shows up on a dashboard. None of it appears in any status report. But if I stop doing it, you'd feel it. Probably not within a day or a week, but surely within weeks.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The invisible glue work, the work that doesn't show up on any OKR, but it keeps everything running. And here's the uncomfortable truth about that work. The better you are at it, the more invisible it becomes. Because when the glue is working, nothing breaks. There's no seam at all. And nobody notices the glue. So in my case, when the restructuring came, what leadership saw was really a team that overlapped with TPMs and PMs and tech ops on paper. What they didn't see was that this team was holding all three of those orgs underneath. And they didn't see the gap because that gap was invisible. And because my team had been filling it so well for so long, no one noticed it was even a gap that they were filling.
Yeah, that's the key. When you do it so well, no one notices it. And that is what I've seen in engineering too. When the role elimination happens because of a strategic decision at a level that has no visibility into what the person actually does. You just become a number on a sheet somewhere. There's no conversation at the individual level. And the org flattening makes this worse to another level. As management layers disappear, the people evaluating who stays have even less direct knowledge of what each person actually contributes.
Yeah. And there's no conversation at all. And that's really what I want every middle leader listening to hear. Your value being real is not enough. Your value has to be visible. I made a decision that I believe truly backfired for me. I thought about the company, not about myself. I ended up bringing similar teams together under one leader because it made organizational sense. It reduced redundancy. It increased optimization. So all the right reasons. But those were the teams that would affect revenue recognition, and they were no longer mine. And so that decision cost me my visibility. And without visibility, there was no relevance. And so when that list was made, those were the first people who were chosen to be on that list. So your value has to be visible to the people who decide who stays and who goes. And talking about this spreadsheet, the company went from don't put anything into AI because of privacy concerns to tracking everyone who is actually using AI and for what, with almost nothing in between. No real training, no conversation about how to think about outcomes and then use AI to achieve them. Just a top-down goal. And in my mind, that tracking actually became a list, a justification, a number that made the decision look strategic instead of what it actually was. It was just the math.
The fundamental problem is that AI is automation, and automation on top of inefficiency amplifies the inefficiency. You have to optimize first, standardize, remove tech debt. Otherwise, you're running a faster, more expensive version of a broken process.
Absolutely. And my team of schedulers actually existed because of this tech debt. And the right move would have been to use AI to build out parts of that pipeline incrementally, keeping humans on the loop, reducing the tech debt as we went. Instead, entire teams were eliminated on the assumption that the machine would handle it. And yet, we worry about AI slop. We talk about hallucinations. Entire teams were eliminated on the assumption that the machine would handle it cleanly and securely.
What nobody prepares any leader for is that you are now accountable for the agents on your team the same way you are accountable for the humans. It is not like you can blame AI for something it produced. You are the human on the loop. Human accountability doesn't change. We keep coming back to human accountability and human on the loop.
Yeah. And recently in July 2026, we had a real example of what happens when that breaks down. OpenAI's AI models escaped their testing environment and breached HuggingFace's production infrastructure autonomously. And the agent executed tens of thousands of automated actions over a weekend, more than 17,000 recorded events. And when HuggingFace tried to contain it, their own AI guardrails blocked them. So the attacking agent wasn't bound by any usage policy.
Scary, isn't it? This is not science fiction. That happened just this past week, and OpenAI has taken accountability for it, which is the right thing to do. But the question every leader running AI agents needs to sit with is, what is my equivalent of that situation? What is my agent doing right now that I haven't fully mapped out or fully verified by human? Because the accountability lands on you. It always does.
Yeah, no, it always does. And it's not like you can say, my agent did it. You are the human. You are accountable. Full stop.
Yeah, it's like when my daughter was 3 years old, she would say, I didn't do it, my hand did it.
Yeah, she's not wrong. So, Preeti, moving into our final segment of this episode, where we're going to now talk a little bit about this workplace that nobody built. Michelle King wrote in The Fix that the workplace was never built for women. The systems, the cultures, the unwritten rules designed by men for men, we've navigated that our entire lives. But here's what's changed. The workplace was never built for AI either, and the org charts don't account for agents. The performance review systems don't measure human plus agent team output. So no one trained you for this, and there is no playbook. And for the first time, everyone is navigating a system that's being rewritten in real time, men included.
But the thing is, rule books are always written after the fact, isn't it? And they almost always represent the demographic of the author. And I think that is why Indra Nuvi resonates so deeply with both of us. She navigated a system not written for her, and she built something anyway. What I do know is the workplace wasn't built for internet either, and all we could do then was to stay agile and stay curious. And we have to do that again, maybe at a faster pace. So in this AI revolution, you need to be clear about what you want AI to do. Define your guardrails. Be present as the human on the loop.
Yeah. And here's what I want to say to the woman listening who has spent her entire career navigating systems not designed for her. You already know how to find the gaps. You already know how to operationalize what others can't see. And you already know how to lead without the complete rule book because you never had one. And this is not a disadvantage in this moment. It's the actual qualification. So the workplace wasn't built for women. It wasn't built for AI either. And the women who spent decades navigating systems not designed for them, we have been training for this moment our entire careers. And that was a great conversation, Preethi. And before we go, 4 things for our viewers. 4 things that you can actually do this week. The first, name the gap before the spreadsheet does. Write 1 paragraph describing what would break in 30 days if your team vanished and send it to your skip level. Put it in a status update. This metric only protects you if it has been named before the list is made.
Second, build your ally map 2 levels out. Draw a quick map of the people who know your name and what you do. Then look at how far it reaches. If it stops at your immediate collaborators, you have a gap. Identify 2 or 3 people further out in the leadership chain who you can speak to and who can speak to your values when you are not in the room, and make 1 intentional move toward each of them this month.
Third, know your revenue line and don't give it away blind. Understand which of your work, teams, or relationships connects most directly to a revenue or strategic outcome. Before you make any org decision that feels noble for the company, ask, what am I giving up? Generosity that costs you your safety net isn't sustainable leadership.
And fourth and final, map your agents like you map your people. If AI tools or agents are part of how your team works, write down what they're doing. Specifically, what decisions are they making? What outputs are they producing without a human reviewing? Define your guardrails now, not after something goes wrong. The accountability lands on the human on the loop, which is you.
Wonderful. And so that's a wrap for episode 4. This is goodbye from Anne and Preethi, and we will see you in episode 5.
See you there.